In this video, we're going to talk about how to build two dashboard prompts on the same column by using variables. So first, we're going to create a simple report. Let's select the analysis. We'll select financial transaction details. From the details, I will select transaction date, then transaction code, and transaction amounts. I will select the gross amount and this twice. I'm going to filter the gross amount by transaction codes, because on this one, if I select a certain transaction code, it will be my accommodation. On this one, by selecting certain others transaction code, it will be my F&B, my food and beverage revenue. So I'm gonna in edit formula and then filter, transaction code, and instead of putting a value in there, I will use the presentation variable, which I will call logis, which will represent my accommodation, and I will put also a default value 1001. So as you can see, this is very important. It puts the default value under single quote. So I have to make sure that later in the dashboard prompt, whatever it will be my prompt, the value that I'm going to select, it will be also in single quote. Otherwise, I will get an OBIEE error. So I will call this accommodation. And I will do the same for this one. And I will use another variable for F&B, food and beverage. I will put another value just to differentiate them, and I will call this F&B. Okay, my report is ready, and it's it can be used. So I can already click on the result and see if I'm retrieving any data. It should work now because I used some defaults in my variable, so it's returning whatever I specified in the defaults. So a little trick on if something is not working while creating the dashboard prompts and you are retrieving, you're getting an OBIEE error with a SQL statement, you can compare that SQL statement with the SQL statement that you will have in advance. So, and basically it should be exactly the same. So this way I could find out that in the SQL statement that I was generating through the dashboard prompt, I was missing the single quote for the transaction codes, and that's why I was generating the OBIEE error. So I'm gonna save the reports, and I will call it test 1 report. So then I'm gonna create the dashboard prompts. So I'm gonna not the dashboard, but I want the dashboard prompts. So on the dashboard prompts, I will select the same subject area. Financial transaction details. Now, just to demonstrate, if I use here column prompt, and I would select the transaction code, so even if I use presentation variable and call it logis, since the prompt for column is looking at this exact column name, whenever I go and create another column prompt based on the same, then I will get this error. The column already exists in prompts, the action would be ignored. So I cannot create a column prompt with variable. So I have to go and use variable prompt. So variable prompt, the difference is not looking at a specific column. Yeah, I have to retrieve the column using a SQL statement. So I'm going to delete this one and use variable prompt. The variable prompt in the presentation variable, I specify my variable. You can define the logis. Then here I can select a choice list, and here I will use a SQL statement instead. So select, we want to select the transaction code from the financial transaction details. However, the transaction codes needs to be in single quote. So I have to modify my query to be able to have the option to select transaction code on dashboard already in single quote. So I prepared my query already, which would be this here. So I'm concatenating the single quote to the transaction code column. So I'm gonna copy, and I will create my FMB variable prompt choice list SQL result, and this will be exactly the same. Okay, I want logis and FMB to be next to each other, so I'm gonna to say horizontal. So I'm gonna change the background color, maybe also the font color, so to be more clear on the dashboard. So, and I'm gonna save the prompt. So we'll call it test prompts. Now I have already, I will call it prompts, simply prompts. Okay, so I have now my prompt. I can already double check and verify if I'm returning. As you can see, I'm returning everything in single quotes. The same should be here. That's fine. And now I'm going to place the report and the prompts on my dashboard. So I'm going to my dashboard, and I have already a dashboard page called two prompts with variable on same column. Gonna have two columns, and I'm gonna to select my report here and the prompts there. So I'm gonna save, gonna access the dashboard again. So, and now let me select something different. And there we are. We have selected the both transaction codes, and we can display accommodation and F&B, which are based on the same column. Thank you very much.